98% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't lived the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, or some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in their Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move. Whatever clique you choose, you better stick to your rules. I done seen cats get hit and the force will lift them off their shoes. The gun tower got the power, they will kill you if you move. The gun tower got the power, they will kill you if you move. So let's get right into today's video, man. So I'm gonna be doing a reaction to a video of an individual, I believe by the name of Stone Ramsey. Now, at some point in time, he was validated as a BGF gang member, and placed in the shoe, excuse me. And then at some point in time, he talks about being a cellie or being in the cell with the individual who was accused of killing Huey Newton, of course, who was one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party. So let's get into this.
When it was time to go for me to take a deal, I refused to take a deal, right? And I wanted to go to trial. And so my attorney was just looking at me like I was crazy. So he whipped out his cell phone and he called my mom. He said, "Miss Renee, I'm gonna tell you right now, your son's gonna want to go to trial. He can beat the case, but he's not gonna beat the jury." He says, "It's number white people on that jury. It's a no-brainer. You need to talk to your son right now. If you want to see him again free on the streets, you need to talk to your son." Because I was hard-headed. I didn't want to take the case because I knew it was some bullshit, you know. And so I was in handcuffs, so I couldn't even talk. So he had to put the phone to my ear. And my mom just told me, she said, "Son, just take the case. Just you gonna come. You got a date." And so, and that was what convinced me to even take a deal. I had been going to jail in and out of my life, in and out of jail all my life. So it was like throwing a fish in water. So, you know, I understood the ebb and flow of the politics of prison.
Now it's the trip, right? He just said right there that he had been going to jail all his life, you know, and sometimes, and I don't know his particular situation, but sometimes you have individuals who start going to jail, you know, in juvenile as young as 12 and 13. So being able to deal with that type of environment is second nature to them. And of course, while they would rather be free, it doesn't necessarily affect them the way it would affect somebody else. And so, you know, some individuals, man, are not trying to take certain deals that's offered with them because they feel that they can survive and some even thrive in prison. But I just wanted to put that out there. That's got to be a cold mindset to, you know, to where you have been to prison so much where you don't necessarily mind going back if you have to.
So, you know, I understood the ebb and flow of the politics of prison. I knew I can't use no joke. I can't gamble. I can't be involved in nothing out of pocket. And I had to carry myself in whatever I believe in. I just had to stand on it. And so by me knowing those ethics and those morals and having integrity, you know, I just came in and did what I was supposed to do. It was a lot of politics though. In the California prisons, you have the most segregated prison system that I believe exists, because you have the Northangels, the Northerners, Mexicans, you have the Southern Mexicans, you have Crips, you have Bloods, you have Bulldogs, you have the Aryan Brotherhood. it goes on and on, and each one of those have their own territory, their own ways of doing things, their own politics, on ethos, on culture, you name it, and you got to be abreast of everything if you want to leave prison alive, because one misunderstanding could cost you your life.
Now, in my opinion, right, here's the individual who understands prison very well. And like you mentioned earlier, he's been going to prison, for quite some time. So it was nothing for him to go back, right? But in my opinion, this individual right here shows the big difference of an individual who goes in there and he takes his life seriously, as opposed to an individual who goes in there and just basically hanging with the homies and having fun, not recognizing the severity of the situation, right? I mean, I've seen individuals like that as well, right? Who, for whatever reason, don't seem to take their surroundings seriously. And I guess they're so caught up in being slick and doing what they're doing, being, I guess, trying to get over on people, that it's second nature to them. And they don't realize that this is not the place to try that slick stuff, man. I would always trip on individuals who seem to come to prison and try to run the same slick shenanigans that landed them in prison, when you are pretty much placed in a place that has the worst of the worst. So trying to outslick somebody, trying to do anything outside of fair business, to me was just crazy. Like, man, don't you realize you are playing with people who are not playing?
For 2.5 years, I waited for a bed space. And so I went from the hole at the prison that I was at to Corcoran Shoe. And when I got to Corcoran Shoe, you have to be classified and to be housed in the solitary confinement shoe of that prison. So when you go there, you go to classification. Of course, you got to be shackled from your ankles and your shoulders, and then you got the whole goon squad, the gang committee. They're there to escort you there, because you are a part of you've been validated as a gang member, so they have to escort you everywhere you go, like a special escort. So here I am. I'm in classification. I'm shackled from head to foot. Goon squad is behind me, and they ask you, are you cool to be housed with anybody? And do you have any problems? No, I don't have any problems with anybody.
Now, once again, I just like to point this out for those who may not be quite aware. He said he was validated as a gang member. That's very different from being identified as a Crip or a Blood or a gang that is on the street. Now, what he's talking about is he was validated, allegedly accused by the prison staff, the administration, of being a part of a prison gang, the BGF, a gang that started in prison, right? And so when you are proven, or it's alleged, and then of course a lot of times when these allegations are made in prison by prison administration, then you have that allegation reviewed by somebody else who works for the prison. They're going to find you guilty, right? And so when you are found guilty of being part of a prison gang as opposed to part of a street gang, that's when you get a indeterminate shoe, which basically means for the duration of your sentence, unless you debrief, unless you choose to expose the inner workings of whatever political structure they accuse you of being a part of, you will sit in the shoe indeterminately. And even if you get out and you come back on an entirely different case, they will review your old file and immediately put you right back in the shoe.
Okay, so they cleared me, and so it's time to get a cellie now. So now I can get a cellie. First I couldn't get a cellie because I was a gang member. Now, since I'm in a shoe, I'm forced to get a cellie, because if I don't get a cellie, they're gonna take my TV that I can now get, and the other things I can get. So they're going. So now I'm forced in a situation. I got to get a salary, and so forth and so on. And they're all watching, and most of the dudes knew me, so they're banging on the wall on the door like, "Hey, bro, what's going on? You know, hey man, hey Ray Stone." And so they bring the guy out, and it's, like I said, it's the dude who actually killed Huey P. Newton. And so they asked, is it cool for you guys to be compatible? So you're in a situation where it's like, okay, all right, I got an outdate. This dude don't. Everybody watching, even the goon squad watching. So if I say I don't want to go and sit with this dude, it's gonna look like I'm a sucker. Regardless, I want to go up in there, nah. And so when he come out, I know him. He's a brother that I know. I mean, like, Stone, man, what's going on? Man, I ain't had a celly in 2 years. Come on. So who am I to, say, hey, man, because regardless of what kind of crime you do, you still got human rights, I mean, you still got redeemable qualities, and the community had accepted him. So who am I? So I get there in the cell, and and it's like I know him, and he actually the whole unit, the corridor, embracing me because it was a breath of fresh air. Here's a new dude coming, solid dude, ain't no piece of shit, and he's
Now, he's talking about obviously the dude who was convicted of killing one of the two founding members of the Black Panther political party, Huey Newton, right? And so I've heard different stories in relation to how that dude was embraced in prison. I have never been on the yard with the dude, so I'm not going to go into what I've heard or whatever. He's saying that the brother was embraced, I guess on that tier or in the section of the whole that they were in. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, he shot Huey Newton in the face a couple of times. I believe in Oakland at a corner store or something of that nature, right? At the time when Huey passed, I believe he was caught up in a drug addiction, and I don't know if that was part of what led to his death, but I do know, like I say, that he was killed, and this individual was convicted of it.
coming in,
And let me clarify, not the brother right here. He's talking about when he got a celly, he moved in the cell with the dude who was convicted of killing Huey Newton.
he bring some good energy, there. But it's like, being in that situation, being in the cell with that brother, it was like every time they would have like visitors or tourists or prison officials coming from a different institution, it was like they would always come to our cell. They would always hone in right there. The funny thing is that when I left the cell with him, he got a new celly, and that celly ain't there. He ain't, that dude didn't make it. That dude got his neck broke, allegedly. Being in a hole was crazy because I actually doing 16 years, and I was finna parole. So I petitioned the prison officials to get some type of re-entry and pre-parole classes. Like, man, hey, man, I did gone 16 years. Aren't you guys gonna give me some type of preparation to be out? And so they denied my grievance. Said, no, you're not afforded any preparation. You're in the hole. And so I said, man, but I didn't do anything to be here. It's administrative. And they said, so it's crazy. It's like when I.
Now that's crazy right there, right? He's talking about getting ready to get out, and so he basically requested some type of assistance to help him be reintegrated back into society. And they told him that due to the fact you are coming from the hole, you're not eligible for any of these things. And he said, hey, well, you know what? I'm in the hole because you guys deemed me to be part of something. I haven't done anything in prison. He's basically saying that this is an administrative decision. I haven't done anything. You know what I'm saying? Outside of being found guilty of some allegations you guys made. Still in all, they denied him on the fact that you're coming from the hole. So I mean, have a dude sit up in the hole 16 years, I believe is what he said he did. Very little interaction with anybody else, very little mind stimulation, and now he's requesting some help so I can try to go back into society and function to the best of my ability. And I'm assuming, of course, he's requesting this so he can go out there and not get in any trouble and get whatever tools and options they have to help him do these things. They tell the dude no. So they're really not about, rehabilitation, or at least definitely they weren't around the time he got released.
Parole. My parole agent had to come pick me up, and he had to pick me up from San Quentin, and because Corcoran is like down in LA, and I'm from Oakland, so I'm getting paroled to the Bay. So they had to transfer me to Corcoran 3 days before I was paroled to San Quentin. So, because they had to put an ankle monitor as soon as I got out, because I'm allegedly gang member, gang leader.
Think you're going to come
Right.
out on the street and
Right.
call shots for the BGA.
Right, allegedly, right? So, right, and so it's crazy. It's like when I paroled, my parole agent had to come pick me up, and he had to pick me up from San Quentin, and because Corcoran is like down in LA, and I'm from Oakland, so I'm getting paroled to the Bay. So they had to transfer me to Corcoran 3 days before I was paroled to San Quentin. So, because they had to put an ankle monitor as soon as I got out, because I'm allegedly gang member, gang leader.
Think you're going to come
Right.
out on the street and
Right.
call shots for the BGA.
Right, allegedly, right? So, typically you get $200 gate money when you get out, from, to help you transition back to the street. But because I was in Corcoran and I paroled from San Quentin.
So for whatever reason, the interview cut off right there. I happened to run across that on a channel known as Al Prophet. And this individual just explaining, his prison experience a little bit, how they gave him a shoe after they validated him for being a member of the BGF, man. And so he talked about how he ran across the individual who was convicted of killing Huey Newton. Anyway, man, listen, you already know who it is. It's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program.